Don't feed Vladimir. Vladimir is a magic damage caster with strong sustainability and durability. He has a moderate base run speed and a relatively short attack range. Vladimir does not use mana or energy as a resource. Instead, 2 of his spells cost him health and 1 returns his health. Vladimir's passive is Crimson Pact. This grants him bonus ability power based on his health and bonus health based on his ability power. This does not stack with itself. For example, bonus ability power gained from health through his passive will not also grant him more health. This passive means that health and ability power items are more cost-effective for Vladimir, and he may take this into consideration when gearing. Vladimir's transfusion instantly deals magic damage to a target. This is followed by blood moving from the target to Vladimir. Once this reaches him, he is healed for a set amount that scales with ability power. Though spell shields will block the damage of the ability, Vladimir will still gain health back. The cooldown on this ability is dramatically reduced by level. Vladimir's Sanguine Pool causes him to turn into a pool of blood, briefly becoming untargetable. While in this state, he can move freely, slowing enemy units he passes over and dealing periodic damage based on a percentage of his bonus health. He cannot cast any abilities until the effect ends. Additionally, he gains a brief movement speed increase when he activates the ability. To use this ability, he must spend a significant percentage of his remaining health. Note that this is his current health, not his maximum health. While in the pool, he is healed for a percentage of the damage he deals to targets. In other words, he can recover health if he is hitting units with the ability, but will not recover health if he is using the ability strictly as an escape mechanism without hitting opponents. Becoming untargetable means targeted spells that are in flight will be disjointed, completely ending them. Skill shots such as Morgana's Dark Binding will pass directly through him without impacting. Also, many AoE spells such as Lux's Lucent Singularity will have no effect on him. While in pool form, Vladimir will not be targeted by towers or normal attacks from enemy champions or minions. However, damage over time effects such as Ignite will continue to damage him while in the pool, and some area effects such as Vygar's Event Horizon will still affect him. Channeled effects such as Fiddlestick's Drain will also continue to function. Sanguine Pool also has one more important caveat. If it is used immediately after casting Transfusion, he will disjoint the blood returning from the cast, preventing him from receiving the heal. It will also prevent him from receiving heals or buffs from any allies. Sanguine Pool applies both its damage and slowing effect through spell shields, and does not consume them. Vladimir's Tides of Blood fires projectiles at all enemies within a moderate range. Upon hitting them, they take magic damage. Tides of Blood costs a flat amount of health. Each time he casts it, he gains a stacking buff which increases his healing and regeneration, including healing from abilities. Each stack also increases the damage of the ability and the health cost of the ability. This stacks a maximum of 4 times. Tides of Blood will hit stealth targets as well as targets within nearby bushes, clearly indicating their location. Tides of Blood cannot kill Vladimir, and can be cast even if he cannot afford the health cost. If this occurs, he will be brought to 1 health. Vladimir's ultimate is Hemoplague. When cast on a location, all nearby enemies are debuffed for several seconds. While debuffed, these targets take significant additional damage from all incoming attacks and abilities from Vladimir and his allies. After the debuff expires, all surviving enemies will be dealt a large burst of magic damage. Hemoplague can only be blocked by spell shields when it is initially cast. Activating a spell shield when Hemoplague explodes will not prevent damage. Vladimir is an extremely survivable champion in his lane. Right out of the gate, his transfusion allows him to sustain himself. Since it costs him nothing and does moderate burst damage in the first few levels, he can use it to effectively last hit low health minions. To counter him in the early game, look for an opportunity to seize the advantage through effective burst and zoning. If he cannot comfortably stay in range of minions and cannot safely build stacks of Tides of Blood, he will have a far more difficult time recovering his health than he normally would. In the early levels, his transfusion has a long enough cooldown that shorter cooldown harass spells or auto attacks with a moderate range can punish him. Also, the moment you see him cast Transfusion on a minion, immediately move in range and counterattack him. If you can pressure him into using Sanguine Pool, he will not only lose health but also lose his strongest escape in the lane, allowing for a more effective gank. Avoid pushing minions to his tower while you have a lane advantage. A large group of minions means he will gain excellent farm and likely recover most of his lost health with little risk. That said, pressing an early game advantage over Vladimir does not lock him out of the game as much as it does with other champions. Vladimir is one of the strongest farmers in the game, and basic spell vamp is enough for him to recover more health from casting Tides of Blood than he spends on it. Multiple stacks on Tides of Blood can allow for him to clear full minion waves in just a few seconds. In other words, he can sustain and heal from minion waves by rapidly clearing them, without needing to worry about a resource like mana. By the same token, his best farm occurs by pushing the lane and potentially overextending, which can lead to good opportunities for a gank. Sanguine Pool can be a daunting escape, but keep in mind that it does cause significant damage to him if he uses it without moving into enemies. If possible, use an ability such as a targeted crowd control to encourage him to pool, then follow it up with another crowd control. Don't forget that damage over time effects such as Ignite work, and a well-timed Ignite before a pool can wreck his health return. Aside from that, be careful not to waste abilities when Vladimir is pooling, as he cannot be affected by an enormous number of abilities in the league. Don't be put off by Vladimir's high health. Unless he has also built high magic resist or armor, he can still be burst down relatively easily in teamfights if necessary. He may build Zhonyas or other items specifically for avoiding this. All that said, Vladimir is ultimately a pure AoE champion with only one moderate single-target nuke. His Hemoplague is devastating, especially when combined with AoE ultimates and abilities from other champions. Watch out that you're not grouping too closely to each other and avoid fights in tight areas such as in the jungle. Watch for his build. A Vladimir who builds cooldown reduction and items like Will of the Ancients is going to have a lot of sustain and quick farm, but can more easily be bursted than a Vladimir with high health items such as Rylai's or a Vladimir with Zhonyas. As Vladimir, there are three main things you must learn. First, take the initiative if you can. In a lane, you are strongest when you are able to maintain stacks of Tides of Blood, and can stay in range to recover health with Transfusion. However, you cannot easily get back into lane dominance if you're already being zoned. Identify quickly whether you can zone an opponent or at least keep them from being aggressive, and consider using some early Transfusion cast for Harass instead of last hitting. Second, try to judge your Sanguine Pool casts. Making the wrong decision can kill you. As a general rule, try to use Sanguine Pool to avoid heavy crowd controls or skill shots that are likely to kill you. Never overestimate Sanguine Pool as an escape when considering whether to overextend. Damage over time effects are their most deadly while you're in Sanguine Pool, and at low health, simply because you're also prevented from casting other abilities to recover your health. Finally, learn to manage Tides of Blood stacks. You can keep it stacked when minions are not around, but it's better if you do so closer to its expiration than spamming it the moment it's off cooldown. This helps keep you at a little higher health. By the same token, you want to judge when teamfights are about to occur, or when there's about to be a big wave of minions you want to clear in a nearby lane. When this occurs, begin stacking Tides of Blood as fast as you can while moving towards them. Thanks for watching this Don't Feed. Be sure to subscribe with the button on the upper right. Check out my previous movie in this series, Don't Feed Jax, by clicking the movie thumbnail on the right. I regularly stream League of Legends and other games right here on YouTube. Make sure you like me on my new Facebook page and follow me on Twitter. As always, check the movie information box below for general thoughts and series updates, and let your friends know about this series to help promote it in the League of Legends community. Also, make a post on the official League of Legends forum thread linked below if you really enjoy the series.